normally the agent is the one approaching you. Don't get crazy approaching agents because when you're ready, the agent knows.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Hey, really good, really good. How's it going?
Pretty good, man. Enjoying the summer here, quieter than yours, I think. So thanks for making time for this during the busy season.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a very interesting season. It's been fun, but it's also very, very exhausting.
Any
Yeah, I
big
can't wait
highlights?
to be.
Any big highlights from this season before we start?
Yeah, I mean, EastEnders this year has been killing it every Tuesday. I think it has been the party with the biggest impact, because
I've
it's
seen
going
videos. It
really
looks
well.
sold out every week.
Yeah, man, it's going really well.
So before we really go in, for those maybe watching who don't know you, maybe give a little background on what you do, who you represent.
Yeah, so my name is Diego. I'm the co-owner and CEO of Oasis Bookings and Ritmo Bookings. It's basically the same office team, but with a little different rosters. Our biggest territories are Spain, South America, and we have a few artists for North America as well. We work with artists such as the Mason Collective, Stand Ups, Richie Ahmed, Joy Daniel, Stacy Pullen, and a big etc. Have a pretty big roster we're very happy with. We started the agency in 2022, which is not that long ago. Before that, I was working for another agency called Kumak Bookings, where I work with artists such as Wade, Bastida, and another big artist from Spain. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm also part owner of Mixmac AE Group. We have Mixmac in South America, Mixmac in the Netherlands, Italy, Germany, Spain, and the Caribbean. So yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
basically it.
It's amazing. I mean, we've known each other for a while, so it's been a pleasure to work with all these things. Um, do you have like an early memory of like maybe what attracted you to electronic music?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked electronic music since like way, way back. I think I started to fall in love with electronic music with, I know it can sound a little bit weird, with Swedish House Mafia. That was way, way back, the very first tracks of them. That's how I got into electronic music. Then they brought me to a festival. It was the Dream Beach Festival. I went to some friends and then I discovered this techno stage. It was like very, very like, not the hard techno of today, but the proper techno. What is that? I didn't even know this music existed. And I just stayed there all night and started discovering music. And I'm like, I want to make a living out of this. And it just happened. I mean, it's a long process. It sounds like it was easy, but that's just the very beginning.
Did you ever consider being a DJ or a producer?
No, never,
No?
never,
Same.
never. I have a lot of respect for that position, and I think that not everybody can be an artist. I have a lot of respect for that position in particular. So I'm
Same.
just doing a different way.
I think it takes a unique person to be that, just like it takes a unique person to be on our side.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I never liked the spotlights. I never liked to be. I mean, I've never dreamed of being famous, really, but I do like music as much as the DJs and producers.
Same. Even doing this stuff is different and hard for me because I don't really like the spotlight or being in front of the camera that much.
Yeah, same.
Do you remember what your first job in the business was?
Yeah, well, I've always been an entrepreneur. So I lived in the US for 5 years. I got a scholarship for playing water polo. I went to a junior college in California, and then I went to Missouri. And in St. Louis, in Missouri, that's where I started doing electronic music events. That was back in 2012, long time
Oh,
ago
wow.
now. Yeah. And then I started doing parties for college kids. We were 50 people. I got a Venezuelan partner, actually. I know you work a lot with Venezuelan, and
A
probably
little bit.
a good crowd of Venezuelans listening to the podcast. So that made it sound interesting. And we started doing small parties, and then we started doing a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. We started bringing artists such as Charles Tegnacia, you know him very well. You're his manager. Artists like Ryan Crosso, Miguel Bastida, Adrian Hour, etc. And when I was booking one of these artists, I talked to the agent that represented them. I saw he was Spanish, but he was speaking to me in English. He wasn't speaking very fluent English. I was like, oh, maybe I can be of help for him. And I'm like, hey, can you give me a shot on this? I think I can do well as an agent. And he gave me the opportunity. To be honest, it was a very tough start because I was starting college. I was playing water polo and I was spending like 2 hours a day on bookings, and I didn't get a single booking in 4 months. And I've been working everything, talking to all promoters, writing messages on Facebook. That was the thing back then. I was the annoying guy, like, hey, I have these artists, and then I didn't give up, and I believed in myself, and I got my first booking. I was the happiest man on earth, and then I got the second booking, and then things were escalating. And then I graduated in 2016. And that person that gave me the opportunity told me, hey, do you want to come and work from the office? It was in the north of Spain. And I decided, like, yeah, let's do it. So I just moved there
Was that
and been
Kumak?
working as an, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Who was the
So,
first booking and where?
it was, that's a good question, man. I think it was something with Adrian Hour, but I can't remember exactly, man. It was so long ago.
I was
I
booking
just
Adrian a
remember I
lot
was
back
very
then.
happy. Were you? Nice.
Yeah,
What
I
artists were
started
you working with?
Technacia too. I mean, I was just a promoter back then. We were at Space. So, I mean, I was around
Nice.
2012, 2013 was when I was like Luis Diaz's assistant. So I was just like
Nice.
learning. I was just learning bookings, and really, I was like doing the advancing and like the artist liaison stuff at the beginning. So that's how I met Charles.
Nice. 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 Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was our biggest party ever with Charles. It was
yeah.
in a theater. We rented all LED panels. It was very, very fun. I mean,
I've
it's always
always
fun with
just
him.
I've always had great shows with him. He was one of those ones that just early on there was always great synergy, and he's probably the person I booked the most in terms of like an international act.
And that's a statement, man. You've done a few bookings.
I've done a lot,
Yeah.
and he came with
Yeah.
me from every venue, from like Space and every venue on after, from like the beginning of Humans Alike with like Small Rooms, and then Heart, Winwood Factory, like you name it in between.
Nice.
You mentioned that Oasis and Ritmo work side by side, and what differentiates them is the bookings. Can you break that down?
Yeah. 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 So basically, I have a different partner in South America. I work with Luke from AG. He's my partner there. So that's why we have a different name. And also we have a different roster as well. We have different artists. Like the core base is the same, but we have a few different ones. So we decided to just name it differently. And yeah, basically it's our biggest territory, South America and Spain. That's where we make like 85% of all the income from the agency.
Oh
So yeah.
wow, yeah. I mean, South America is a great market. One of my best
Yeah,
for my guys.
it is, but it's
Um,
very complicated to work there, because
I
except the
feel like
very big promoters, there are some floppy ones that makes it very
yes, the
hard, man.
promoters can be challenging. I kind of
Yeah,
prepare all the artists I work with, like, hey, this is gonna be the funnest market. Money's gonna be great, but like everything maybe logistically and promotionally will be a bit complicated and challenging.
yeah, exactly,
Um,
exactly. Expect
I
the unexpected.
I wasn't gonna dive into that this early, but since you kind of went into it, and you work in a lot of different territories, and I always sit there and I tell like US artists that Europe's tough to break, and I tell European artists that the US is tough to break. As someone who works in all of them, maybe outline like what the differences are, if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a different sound that is more demanded in different territories. I think the US now is a little bit more commercial. You see, like the John Summit, the Fishers are like the superstars in the US. They are the
Hmm.
ones getting like the biggest money. Whilst in Europe, we have artists like from Marco Carola to Solomon, Black Coffee, who are just killing it right now. Jamie Jones, for example. I know these artists do well in the US as well, but it's just a different sound. Also, the Chris Stussies are being very popular in Europe now, and there's a whole trend of this minimal deep tech that is just smashing it everywhere. And you see the
Yeah,
same
it's
lineups.
consuming here. Yeah.
Yeah, I know in the US is doing well right now. I see playing the big stages and stuff, but the guys that are making like 300K are like the John Summits, the Fishers and stuff, while
Oh,
in
I don't
Europe
even
are
think they're
different.
making. I don't even think they're making that little anymore, because they're
Oh
doing like
no.
arenas and like, John Summit. I think just did 50,000 people for his event in New York this weekend.
Oh wow.
They're like
Wow. Then
next level
300,
numbers.
300K on each leg. Yeah.
But all the other artists you mentioned, I would say, are selling out club shows in all the major cities in the U.S., like Miami, New York, LA, Chicago. I don't know if they're really touring this, like the B and C cities, because I don't think those cities have caught on to it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they play in all the big cities, but I think the sound is different. Also, the labels that you release on are making the difference, on where you're going to be booked. Because I think there are some labels in Europe that are very big, while there are some labels in the US that can be very big as well. So depends
Hmm.
on the strategy. If you want to break out in the US, you need to aim your music at certain labels
Hmm.
and send it to certain artists. While in Europe, it's the same, but to different artists and labels.
Absolutely. I agree there. What do
Mhm.
you think from a booking side has changed since in the last 5 years, or let's just say from the pandemic to now, from
Wow,
before the pandemic to now?
the pandemic was a tough, tough, tough moment for everyone. I went
Hmm.
bankrupt completely. I had to ask for a loan that I finished paying not so long ago. And after that, it was a slow start, but then it just boomed again. And I think we are at the moment where the artists are getting the bigger fees right now. So I think it's a tough time for promoters because it's very hard to get access to the talent that actually sells all the tickets because they always play at the bigger shows. But also the artists that are in like the medium range, they are also suffering because there's not a big demand of them because their promoter is always asking, hey, they don't sell tickets. So why are you asking me for 4 or 5K for this artist if they are not selling the tickets for that amount? So it's a complicated time, but at the same time, I think if you build a good relation with the promoters, you help them, you are honest with them, then they're gonna call you back.
Absolutely.
That's what I think.
I agree there. And I don't think every artist should be expected to sell tickets. I think there's like a balance and it just depends on where maybe someone pushes the fee to.
Exactly.
As a booking agent, what do you think is more important? The relationships, the strategy, or the vision?
Think there needs to be a balance between everything. I think the relation is as important as is the strategy, and the vision needs to come from the very beginning of the artist career. The artist already needs to have a vision. If they don't have a vision, they're not going to make it. But without the relations of the artist and his team, they're not going to break through and they're not going to play certain events. And without a proper strategy, you're going to play certain shows, but in the long run, you're not going to succeed. So there needs to be a little bit of the three, I think.
Yeah, I agree there. And then how do you deal with like maybe the transparency with the artists, maybe giving them feedback that they're not going to like?
I mean, I just like to be honest with them. I just like to be honest. I like to ask feedback to the promoter and to the artist. And sometimes there is feedback that the artists don't like, but you need to give it to them because they need to know it in order to improve. So I try to put it in the nicest way possible, but they need to hear it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing my job correctly. So it's just a matter of communicating with your team, with your artists, with the promoters, and just try to make the best out of it.
Absolutely. And then I guess now from the artist side, maybe getting involved with agents. Is there something from I guess the artist or the artist and manager? Is there a point or a threshold or where you're like, all right, they're ready for an agent?
Yeah. So there's one sentence that I like to say to up-and-coming artists that are very, eager to have a team, have an agent. I always tell them, like, normally the agent is the one approaching you. Don't get crazy approaching agents because when you're ready, the agent knows he's going to approach you. I like to make sure that before I sign any artist, I like to make sure that I'm going to be able to sell them. I talk to my key promoters that are very good friends and I tell them, hey, what do you think about this artist? Would you book him? He's releasing in this label. He's been playing in Coachella. He's been playing in this big festival. And then I ask them if I have a good feedback for like 2 or 3, then I think it's an interesting artist for me. If I don't have a good feedback from these promoters, it doesn't make any sense for me to sign them because I won't be able to provide the work.
Yeah, I kind of tell artists the same things who approach me from a management level. I'm like, if I feel there's synergy, I'll reach out because it's even just more than if I could sell them. That's obviously the first point. But I also need like a vibe thing. Like I need to feel that I can talk to this person every single day. And
Oh
if
yeah,
that
for sure. I
synergy is
mean,
not there, to me, I find it hard to work with them.
totally, totally. I think as a
Yeah.
manager, there is an even more personal relation
hmm
than as an agent. I mean, as an agent, I like to be on top of things. I like to travel with the artists, etc. As a manager, you're speaking daily with the artists. You're building the strategy, you're building the vision, you're on day-to-day talks. I think there needs to be like you need to bet on an artist. You're investing your time on a person. So you need to be
Absolutely.
sure that you are connecting with that person, that you believe in what he's doing or she's doing, and then grow together from there.
I agree there. Is there something that you would recommend to artists before they sign with any agent that they should be
Yeah.
aware of?
Yes. Get in the studio and have like 20 tracks ready and don't even send or tell to anyone. And have this track as the biggest asset that you have for everything. Before you approach any manager, any agent, have your tracks ready, tracks that you're happy with. And then you are more, how do you say, you're in a better position to approach managers or agents or even artists that have labels and you want to release on. So just work in the studio, don't make noise, have feedback from your fellow artists, of course. That's always a good thing. But once you have all these tracks and you're happy with them and you have your sound and you have your vision to set it, then it's the time to approach managers and agents and stuff. That's my recommendation. But of course, you have artists growing that haven't even released a track and they're already playing big stages. So there's not like a recipe where you do this and you're gonna get to the top. But that's
I
my
agree.
personal recommendation.
Is there something that stands out more than another for like you selling to promoters? Is it streams? Is it something on social media? Is there a data point that like is a good selling point for you?
Yeah, so that's what I see that has changed in the last few years. At the very beginning, it was just mostly about the music. I was just sending the music. Hey, this artist has released on Hot Creations, on Republic Mars, and these other labels. And they were like, oh, interesting. And these promoters sometimes are DJs as well. So they're like, oh, I like the music from this artist. I'm going to book him. But now it's a combination of many things. It's a combination of social media, because that's how you get your personal brand out. It's a combination of your music. It's a combination of how you look and the way you dress, because it's also an important thing. It's a combination of all your personal relations in the industry, and it's a combination of all these things, basically. And I'm sure I'm forgetting any factors, because right now is
Yeah,
complicated
I
thing to
always
grow
tell
as an
people
artist.
that like it's like right music for the right promoters with the right style and the right everything needs to come together to aim towards like that audience you want. And
Mhm.
not just the audience in terms of fan base, but even the type of promoters you want to work with. And then I also say like you definitely need you need to create some hype and momentum around you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's a hard thing to break down. So it's just like a lot of things happening at the same time.
But it's true that you see it on the way you see that an artist is breaking out or breaking down, sorry, is on social media. That's how you
Hmm.
see it. You start seeing viral videos, you start seeing them on flyers, but you see it through social media. You start seeing collaborations, but you all see it through social media. So now it's so important that it can be as important as the music, or sometimes even more important. So it's something
Yeah.
to take into consideration.
It's not what people want to hear, but it is a reality.
Oh
But I
yeah.
also tell people like the social media numbers aren't that important. What's important is like if whatever number or size fan base you have, if you're able to convert them to the next step, whether it's taking them from Instagram to your music and actually being able to do that, or from Instagram or whatever platform to a show, like just having a bunch of followers and fans that don't really garner more than a like on a post is almost useless.
Totally, totally. So the thing is, it's not about getting the most likes or the most followers. No, it's about getting. If it doesn't matter if you have 1,000 followers, but if these 1,000 followers are giving you a good engagement and they're listening to your music, that means you're doing a good job. It's better to have 1,000 real followers than having 10,000 fake ones.
Yeah, I
That's
agree
that's
there.
what I think.
100%. Uh, what makes an artist a great client for you, like from like a workflow perspective?
Okay, so it's an artist, but like the straight point is an artist that sells tickets. It's as simple as that. I could say more things, but it all comes down to that. Like I'm
I,
interested
I
in artists that sell tickets and that
I
can,
guess
you
more
know.
from like a day-to-day face, like, like how they make your life easier.
I like artists that are, like humble, that easy to work with, that believe in what I do. I never tell an artist what music to play. So I don't like being told what to do because I believe in my job. So I like people that believe in me, that believe in my work. That's something very important for me.
Makes sense. And then I guess artists can sometimes blame managers and agents when bookings aren't coming in. How do you navigate that conversation?
Yeah, yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot. So I'm just straight honest. I just tell them, hey, I've reached out to these promoters. I send them the list. I've reached out to 50 promoters. None of them gave me good feedback. None of them want to book you. So it's not really up to me. So if it doesn't make sense for you, it doesn't make sense for me. So maybe we can just stop working here. Like there's nothing bad, nothing personal about it. We can still be friends, but if it doesn't make sense for everyone, let's just stop it.
Makes sense. Let's switch gears. Tell me about Mixmag and like what your involvement is with them.
Okay. So I met my partner JP like it was like 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. He was the owner of Mixmac Mexico and Caribbean, and I met him here in Spain. And I'm like, hey, what do you think about starting some branches? Like, I don't see Mixmac Netherlands, I don't see Mixmac Germany, I don't see Mixmac Italy. And he's like, that's interesting. I'm like, I have an office team that we could use. I have friends and colleagues. I'm connected in the industry here in Europe and I think we can do it. So we started developing all these branches in Europe, and I'm not very involved in the day-to-day work of this because I don't have the time. I do provide some work, especially with events or with bookings or with artists that, want to do some campaigns. We have a very, very big team now in the office. We're like, I think we're 17 people in the office right now, and it just grew from 2 to 17 in 2 years and a half. So it's been crazy. We're really happy with it, and I think we're just at the beginning of it because we're still developing uh, month by month, and everything's growing. So we're really happy.
And how do you see outlets like Mixmag and others, I guess in breaking artists these days? Do you think it's as important as it was 5 or 10 years ago?
Well, probably. I mean, it's complicated because 5, 10 years ago, there weren't these, how do you call all these pages that have so many followers in Instagram? There is like Mr. After Party, there is Techno Bible, there is Techno, there is like 100 pages with 100,000 followers each that can grow your career a lot. Back in the days, there was only Mixmag, maybe DJ Mag, and that was the only exposure that you had. That doesn't mean that now it's not important because the name of Mixmag is probably the most reputed one in the industry as a social media outlet. So I think it is very important. We also don't just release articles and stuff for the sake of doing it. So we like to keep a line of content, and I think it is important to be in feature on social media like Mixmag and do like
I
Mixmag Labs because Mixmag has a YouTube channel with 1.7 million subscribers. Getting content like that is very important for an artist.
I agree. I think there is a more outside of its legacy stuff. I think there's more validation there.
Yeah,
Like getting
exactly.
it's harder to get featured there, so I think it validates you a little bit more than sometimes these other social media pages.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's what I think our added value is the name of Mixmag. Yeah.
Is there a edition, like a country version that stands out more than others for you guys?
Well, right now, Mixmag Spain is doing very well, but to be honest, in Netherlands, it has been doing really, really well for the last few years, especially at ADE, where we have a lot of events. This year, we're having like 3 panels. We're having like a panel with agents, a panel with bookers from festivals and clubs. We're doing very interesting stuff. We're releasing printed magazines in all our territories now. And yeah, I think it's all the territories are doing very well. But
Yeah.
Spain is probably the one that is standing out the most at the moment.
I mean, I went to the ADE event last year. That was probably the most fun I had that week, to be honest. I think I was there like 12 hours.
That was amazing. Man. I was there for
It was a
16.
really good event.
That was
It was
very
really
fun.
good.
Man.
I think we only left early because someone wasn't feeling well, but it was
Yeah,
really good. I was
yeah, it
surprised
was.
because we went in not familiar with the location, and then it was surprisingly my favorite venue of the week.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm really glad to hear it. That's where I met my girlfriend.
That
On that
year?
day. Yeah,
Yeah?
that
Then I
day in
probably
that
met her
venue.
too. I don't remember.
She's American. So yeah, it was a fun day. Yeah.
It was a really fun day. I was talking about it with Charles recently. That's why I'm a little bummed I'm not making it this year.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
Is
doing
Charles
it at the
still
same
there, right?
place?
No,
Charles
no, no.
still,
We're
yeah,
just, yeah, he's there, right?
he
Nice.
still lives there. Yeah,
Nice. No, we're not going to do it at the Yellow House this year. We're just going to do it at the Social Hub. We're not going to do any paid events this year. We're just going to do free parties at the Social Hub. Still working on the final lineups. I think in 2 weeks it will be ready, but we'll have very big surprises coming up. Yeah.
I'm sure you will. Good
Yeah.
luck with it this year.
Okay. Thank
Have a
you.
drink for
Thank you.
me too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Do you think, I guess to kind of flip gears back to some booking related stuff, do you think promoters are still taking risk on new artists, or are they just really focused on headliners and ticket sales?
Okay, so there is a little bit of everything, but back like before the pandemic, there were more younger promoters doing events, risking more money, and now there is less younger promoters. You don't see that many promoters betting on the scene because they're all cut out by all the big brands that are taking over the industry. So it's very complicated for medium-sized promoters to develop right now because
Mm-hmm.
especially in the bigger cities, all the big artists are taken. The people are not paying pre-sale tickets as often as they were back in the days. I don't know if it's the same in Miami or not, but here in Europe, the prices are going down considerably, except all the big events, of course, like the
Yeah, so
Circular, the music halls, all these are
the
selling.
big stuff, the legacy venues, like obviously like Space and now Factory Town and that kind of stuff is obviously just bigger than ever. On the mid-tier artists are struggling. So I think if an artist is in like the 4 to 10K range, from my side, that's the hard part of where it doesn't make sense because they're not big enough to sell tickets in this market because of how many other big artists are here. dominating those sales. And then they're also not cheap enough to get away with the free thing.
Exactly, exactly.
But
And that's the issues I'm having with my artists as well. Like
mhm,
this range of artists that you talked about from 3K to 10K is complicated these days. It wasn't that complicated back in the days because they were very reputed names. But at the same
yeah,
time, if you think about it, we're overpopulated by DJs these days because I don't reckon any DJ is saying, "Hey, I'm too old, I'm retiring." And you see artists coming into the industry every month, new artists, younger artists, very eager, doing great music. But then the older artists are still in the scene. And then there is less promoters than before. So how is this all going to collide?
yeah.
So that's
Miami
why
has
it's,
less venues than ever, but our small stuff that's like 3K and under has never done better.
oh,
And if an
wow,
artist,
interesting.
and for the artists that are willing to compromise a bit on budget, we're giving them great shows.
Oh, yeah, I know that for a fact.
So that part's good. But like I said, once they have one or two good shows and then they're like, well, I want my normal fee, then it's like that's where it becomes a little bit more uncomfortable because there is a threshold where it just doesn't make sense anymore. Artist discovery, where do you think is most important these days? Spotify, SoundCloud, Beatport, Apple Music, TikTok, Instagram. Where do you think is most likely fans are discovering artists
I think it depends on the audience
or
because,
promoters?
yeah, but it also depends on the age of the audience. Like for the younger audience, definitely TikTok and Spotify could be the key ones. For a little older crowd, maybe SoundCloud, even YouTube, uh, Instagram. But I think you need to develop every social media or every streaming platform properly, especially Spotify these days. It's very, very, very important. Somebody saying that I'm saying this and I don't even have Spotify on my phone. But for an artist, it's very, very important to have good numbers on Spotify because the promoters are seeing this a lot, and also
I think
the
I
the
think
fans, the
Spotify
fans
is
are
number one.
listening. Yeah,
I think
me too. I think so
Spotify's
too.
number. They did something smart that no one else did, in my opinion, which is they publicize numbers. So you can go to an artist's page and see their top 10 records and see how many streams they have. You see their monthly user listeners. So I think for an artist, if you prioritize your budget elsewhere,
Mhm.
now promoters can go and be like, oh, well, this other artist I paid 5,000 for, he's getting 5 times the listens or the plays or whatever on Spotify than you are, and Spotify is where the fans are. Beatport is where the DJs are.
Exactly, exactly. And
And I think
also
that was
for
that was
new
the smartest
artists,
thing they did from like a business perspective. Sorry to cut you off there.
totally. Oh no, no, totally. I totally agree with that. But also, I think, like for example, the hard techno that is very popular now was created on TikTok in the pandemic. That's what I
I
think.
agree.
Like all these new artists are now massive and they're selling out arenas. I
hmm
don't think it's that big in the US, is it? But here in Europe, it's crazy.
So hard techno, if it's like the top 5 artists, like the obvious names, are crushing it here.
Oh, okay,
But
okay,
beyond those top 5 or 6 names that we all know, like
hmm,
nothing else. At
okay,
least in Miami.
okay.
I think New York, there's a bit more. I think a little bit more on the West Coast and like Detroit, but I think it's still those main names. What's dominating here is every form of tech house.
That's nice.
Tech
That's
house,
nice.
Latin tech house, deep tech minimal, like that's what's dominating everything.
Nice. That's nice. That's good. That's good.
Um,
Here for from 18 to like 23, most of them listen to hard techno. But I also think it's a trend, and when they get older, their ears are gonna develop, and they're just gonna start listening to different music. That's what I think. But they may be listening to this until they're 40. But I think
I've
it's
said
just a
that about
process.
I've said that about every generation. Earlier, you mentioned you were the Swedish House Mafia phase. And I remember back then, because we were actually booking Swedish House Mafia shows in Miami before they like went like super, super like festival level. And I remember the underground people like hating on that. And I was like, give them like 3 to 5 years, and all those fans will be listening to tech house and stuff like that. And it happens every generation. So like I always praise the mass appeal of like hard techno, what's happening with Kind Music or John Summit or any of these things, Tale of Us. I think that sets the platform of who the audience is going to be on the other
Mhm.
side in the next 5 years.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
So
And I think it's a good thing. Some people are criticizing a lot. I'm like, guys, just let the young people listen to whatever they want.
I
They're
agree.
already they're already helping the industry, by buying tickets, by listening to music, by
And there's a
creating a
big, I just
scene.
had a video come out on my YouTube about this specific thing. And I was like, there's a trickle down effect. So the bigger something gets on a mainstream level, the bigger everything gets on the underground level.
Exactly, exactly. Because
And
it's
that
just
means
about
more, and that's
numbers.
more opportunities, everything for everybody.
Hmm.
Where do you see things going in the next 5 years from your side? Like, I see a lot of consolidation happening with big corporate companies buying up everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think at some point you'll be involved with something like that? How do you think it's going to affect your business?
Well, I've been thinking about that for quite a while, but you never know what's going to happen in the future. But you always need to think about how the future is going or where the industry is heading. I think now the bigger companies are taking over. It's just a fact. It's happening. So you need to take into me as a CEO and owner of a not so big agency. I mean, we're doing well, but we cannot compare to any of these bigger agencies like William Morris, like CAA, UTA, etc. So I'm always eager for different options, trying to look for the best for my team, for my artists. So I'm never saying no to anything in the future to work with any other bigger agencies or something like that. But at the moment, I'm doing well. I'm happy where I am right now. But yeah, you never know what the future can bring.
I love to hear that. On a personal level, do you have like what was maybe the most rewarding, or like is there something that you've done or accomplished that stood out more than anything else?
That's very interesting. I think for me, like creating my own agency was like the biggest thing in my career. It all happened very fast. Like I've done it in like 1 month. I picked up my partner Edu, and we're like, let's just do it. It's the right time to create the agency. So I think seeing my own brand in the industry, having a roster of artists that back in the days I would ask for a picture, because I was a fan of the artists I've always been. So I'm now working with artists that I've always dreamed of. So I consider myself the happiest man in the world for doing what I love and having a great team around me. I don't think I can ask for much else. I mean, I'm always very ambitious. Don't get me wrong. I always want more and more and more, but I enjoy the ride. So I'm loving every second of it.
It's been fun to watch it. I remember the beginning when you left
Yeah.
the other agency and started Oasis. So I'm happy to see it,
Yeah.
brother.
I'm happy,
Bro,
man. I'm
you've earned
happy.
it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I guess, do you have a favorite festival and club?
Wow. I have my favorite party. I think we've been together once. Is Get Lost. I don't think they're doing it, but for me, it was an experience. When I was living in the US, I was saving all the money that I was making as a waiter, as a soccer referee, as doing my events there. And I went to Miami Music Week. I once there to Get Lost, and it blew my mind completely. It changed
I
my
love Get
perspective
Lost.
of, yeah. I don't know why they're not doing it anymore, man, but that was my favorite party. Yeah,
I heard a
for
bunch of different
sure.
reasons. I don't know which one is true. I like the other version, which is Day Zero in Tulum.
Oh, never been.
And
I've never been. I
I've
heard great
been
things.
3 times. I haven't been in like 2 or 3 years now. I want to go maybe this year if I can pull it off. It's hard with my kid in school because it's on a Monday. It's hands down my favorite thing I've ever been to. As like to go and enjoy it without having to worry about networking or worrying about taking care of anything, just to go as a spectator. It's my
Uh,
favorite.
Nice, nice. And regarding clubs, for example, in Ibiza, for me, Amnesia is my favorite club to go to. Like going to the extenders parties or the opening party at Amnesia, dancing at 10 a.m. in the morning, seeing the sunlight coming down from the roof. It's just a special moment. I get goosebumps just from thinking about it. It's just very special.
I always prefer a terrace venue over any other venue.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like
Me
the
too. Me
Amnesia
too.
Terrace was always fun for me. Obviously Space Terrace, the Heart Terrace.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's just
Space Stars was legendary
it's
too.
the room I would always prefer if I'm going out to have fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then in mainland Spain and Europe, for me, Fabric Madrid is it's like it's where I grew up. The owner is my good friend. I grew up there as a raver, and it's just insane. It has like 7 rooms. I cannot tell the capacity because my friend will kill me, but it's ridiculous. It's the biggest club in the world.
I haven't been and I've heard nothing but great things.
You haven't been? No
I
way.
know. I haven't
On
spent
your
enough
next
time in
trip, you
Madrid.
need to come.
Next summer we're gonna do some time in Madrid because I have like
Perfect.
3 different stops we want to do in Spain for the family stuff, and I
Nice,
want to make an effort to do
nice.
that one.
Nice. Last weekend of June, they do the anniversary every year. Oh, that's a
I
big
know.
one.
I think Charles played last year, or was it this year? I don't remember. But he played.
Last
I
year,
think it
it
was
was
last
last year.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was very fun.
I
And then
almost
in the
flew out
U,
for it.
oh man, that could have been great.
Yeah.
And then in the US, I love space. I'm not gonna lie, like going there at 11 a.m. and seeing such a good atmosphere around. It's something that you don't see anywhere in the world. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's something unique.
It's
It's
one of
really,
a
really
kind.
nice.
I always tell.
Yeah.
It'll forever be.
Yeah. I really like Hard when, when you guys were running it too. It also had something very special there.
Heart was
And I
special.
also, yeah, really special because staff there was something else. You know, you guys were very kind, were very accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
You wanted to make sure that everyone was having a great time, and those were great days.
Yeah, we really bent over backwards on every aspect to make sure that we really handpicked staff. They were all like almost every staff member worked with us on previous projects. And we just knew that like none of them had a bad attitude. So like from the moment you walked in, got your ID checked to the moment you left, it was very rare you would have a bad experience. And if you did, you probably brought it on yourself.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. And you can tell it, the artists were saying that too. You know, every artist
Hmm.
that was playing there had a great time. I
It
think
was
everyone misses.
it was crazy. I don't know. From my personal health, it's been. I'm glad it's over. It was
You
a
look
wild
younger. You
chapter.
look younger now than 10 years ago.
I do. I feel better than that period because that was. I mean, the last few months I was really struggling with it because like I would get there an hour before it opened, and I would leave anywhere if it wasn't like the super marathon nights, I would leave anywhere between like 9 and 11 a.m. just so I could prepare for the next night.
That's crazy,
It was
man. That's
rough.
crazy. I can only imagine how energy consuming that kind of job was.
Yeah, it was a lot. But
It was
it was
on.
like my first big project too. So I think I was just so like full of adrenaline to succeed that I didn't think about it much till the end.
Yeah.
And then when
But
it
then
was,
everything comes at some point. You had a lot of motivation, but all this energy consuming time that you were spending there
it
at the
took
end
a
of
lot,
the.
but I'm really happy with it. It's one of my like proud moments of my life.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, man. I'm sure. And I think that makes you what you are now and the person that you are.
Now I get to enjoy being like a little bit more slower. And I don't know, maybe one day I'll do something crazy again. But for now, I'm chilling.
That's good, man. That's good.
The next one I was gonna ask, do you have a favorite DJ or producer? And just so I don't get you in trouble, let's just say someone you don't represent, someone that's not on your agency. Do you have a favorite DJ or producer outside of that?
Okay. Can I give you a list of like two or three?
Whatever you want.
Okay, perfect. I think the artist that blew my mind the most is Ricardo Villalobos. He did some things that I've never seen with the desk. But at the same time, also there are some nights that he plays and you're like, maybe it's
Yeah,
not his best day. And then Seth Troxler is an artist that I admire a lot as a person, as a DJ,
same.
as a persona. Then Traumer is for me the 360 artist, like that's techno under his different AKA. He's Roman Ponset, his own name. He does the best minimal deep tech under Traumer. He's a sick DJ and he's a very humble and good person. I think these three could be some of my favorite DJs, yeah, for sure.
I haven't gotten to see
So
Traumer.
I'm from my roster too, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
these three
agree with
are
all those
amazing.
choices. I've gotten to see all of them. Traumer, not that much, but I've been a part of a lot of sets from a working level and just a spectating level. And actually, one of the day zeros, he had this set where he just played nothing but disco. And it's
Wow,
probably one of my favorite sets. Definitely out of any of the day zeros, but it's definitely just an overall standout set. Always.
nice. Yeah, always, man, always.
And I like that because Miami, we're just so tech house sometimes, which I love because that's my business. But it's nice when I get to hear something very refreshing and fun and happy and like uplifting like that.
Totally, totally. And you see him playing in all these tech house parties. You see him playing music on Paradise with the
Hmm.
Martinez brothers in every party, but he has his unique style of music. He's a proper selector. He can play what he wants, whatever he wants, and it's gonna fit right, even though the style of the music of the party is different. So
I agree.
it's just a special one for me.
Very. And he's just on a personal level, he's just very kind to work with. Very
Yeah,
easy, just overall.
you can tell he loves what he does, and he
Hmm.
transmits it from the DJ booth to the dance floor.
I agree. Is there an underrated artist that maybe people should pay attention to right now?
Wow, that's a good one. There's so many of them, so many underrated artists. Okay, that's a complicated one. There is, mm, there is some. Let's look at different countries. For example, like in Spain, I would mention uh, artists like Daniel Ortri, for example, who are
I
blowing
love
up
Daniel.
slowly. But he's such a great producer. He's a sick DJ. He takes care of his personal image very, very well. and I think he's an artist that's gonna stand out very soon.
I
Just to
agree.
mention one.
We've done a lot of shows with him. I love him.
Nice, 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 nice. In the Netherlands, there is an artist that I like a lot called Marcelo. He's producing really, really sick music. He's started to stand out as well. And I think he's still not where he deserves to be. And
I'll check him out.
there's so many million, I can tell, South American artists that are undervalued. I think it's not easy to be born in South America, and there is so much talent. Sorry, not easy to be born in South America and grow as an artist. They don't have the same opportunities as a European artists have, and I think it's very sad. I think there's
I
so
agree.
much talent in South America, and it's not being seen. That's what I think. I could tell you like 20 names that are killing it
Same.
in South America.
We know we've supported a lot. We've broken a lot of South American artists in the United States,
I
and
know.
I've always tried to identify what that challenge is, but they're definitely not getting the opportunities. It's exciting to see what Tony's doing because I think he's really put a huge stamp for is like a newer artist that's like exploding right now. I think he's put a
Mhm.
huge like mark for South America in a positive way.
Absolutely. Tony, I think, is one of the artists that is standing out the most from South
Hmm.
America. Harvey is also doing quite well.
Harvey as well.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well in Europe and Spain. And there's some other artists that are growing, but there is some other that people don't even know about and they're making really sick music and
There's
they're
a
really
list
good
that
DJs.
I've kept. There's a list that I've been watching, like of people that I know from whether it's a malls associations or Tony's or Harvey's that we've just kept an eye on. But because of how challenging it is for them to get a work visa in the U.S. and expensive, we haven't
Mhm.
had the opportunity to bring them yet.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But I think it's gonna change a little bit. I mean, these artists like Tony and Harvey are starting to develop a scene there
Hmm.
in Europe, and I think it's helping these other South American artists
I
to
agree.
grow and have more exposure in this part of the world.
I 100% agree. I want to wrap it up, but before we do, any advice? Most of the people that are going to watch this are bedroom or local DJs. Any advice just to give them before we end?
Yeah, just make sure what you want from the music. Like, it is okay, even though people wouldn't say it, it is okay to be a bedroom DJ, make music in your studio and just play it for you and your friends and enjoy it. And having your side job, it is okay with that. But also, if you want to go to the circuit and if you want to grow as an artist, don't give up, have the vision, and keep working on the studio, keep working on the studio and work on the relations. Whatever city you're living at, I'm sure there is a club or two where they play the music that you like. Go out there, get yourself known, talk to the promoters. Don't be too anxious and too demanding at the beginning, but get yourself known, show
Hmm.
yourself. And if you really dream about this, anything can happen. Work in the studio, work with your social media, find a person. What I like to recommend is because there is artists that want to grow, but at the same time, there's people like you and me that want to grow as managers. So why don't you find a person that likes the industry, is not a DJ, and can represent you in your city, and you guys can grow together? There's a person that can represent you that has no experience as a manager, just as you don't have as a DJ. Can be your friend, can be a person that you met in a club. Ask them, hey, why don't we work together on this? Do you believe in what I do? And if he does, it's like, okay, start sending my name out. Let's create a press kit together. Let's do a little newsletter and let's start working on that.
I agree on all that. Is there a specific? I always tell artists. For me, I always tell artists they should make an effort to go to ADE over anything else.
Yes, I
Just
think
because it's so easy,
AD
like you could stand outside of a hotel and network. Is there anything else similar that you would recommend for them if they have the budget for it?
yeah, definitely AD is the place to be. Don't get
Yeah,
crazy about buying the ADE pass, but make sure to do a calendar for yourself. Make sure to consider that week a week of work. Don't just go there and party like crazy. Like there's time for everything. Of course, you can party, but if you go there and you want to show your music, make sure you have like a bunch of flash drives, hand it to the DJs because you're going to see them in pop-up events for like 50 people. You're going to see them in conferences. You're going to see label managers around. Just make sure you do a right schedule and definitely go to AD because it's the place
I agree.
where
I even
where
tell
you
them
can
if they
grow.
don't know anyone, there's like 3 or 4 hotels you could just send in the lobby, and you'll meet 10
Yeah,
people that day, every day.
exactly, exactly. And just show what you can provide to the industry. There's
I
it's always we're always eager to hire people. The scene is always eager for more artists. So yeah, just believe in
perfect.
yourself and make sure what you want to do with your life.
Amazing. I love that. All right, brother. I really appreciate you making time. I know it's end of summer
Oh,
and you're
my
busy,
pleasure.
but I'll see you in a couple
Always,
months in Miami. Thanks again.
Perfect, bro. My pleasure, brother. Thank you so much for having me, and have a great one.
You
Ciao,
too.
ciao. Bye bye.